If you're a hero, then this is for you. So we're going to take a minute and talk about this Hero chassis and some of the stuff that's being done with this in the newest recreations. It's kind of a cool thing. I'm into the IFS thing. I think they did a pretty good job on the actual design of the truck. It seems from the forums and stuff that there's some component issues with a few things, and a lot of people are creating the lift kit for the body so that you can put a decent tire on it. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, and there is a lot of tech going on in this chassis, but one of the things that has never been going on in this chassis is a proper scale transmission. Now we have that sorted, and a whole bunch of really cool features built into the new GCM conversion rails that will allow you to do your wheelbase changes bolted on. So let's get into the scale garage and check that out. So what we need to do now is this is the assembled version with the full-size wheelbase. This is the wheelbase that actually comes with the vehicle from the factory for the Hero Ford Raptor body shell. There's no changes that have been done here. And so what I'm going to do is just go over this quickly, how the scale drivetrain now goes into the Hero chassis. And it fits in between the two new rails that are inside here from GCM Racing. So what we're going to do is take this off. This is the typical GCM C-Max cross member. And so that comes in the kit. And then the transmission simply lifts up here, so now it's free from the two new side mounts, and it slides backwards to get it out. And you kind of have to get it schweazeled around because there's these bolts that stick through here on the sides a little bit. So I'm going to lift this up like that. There we go. So the front of the motor mount here actually has two new black tabs that are screwed on from the backside. They're screwed on right here. And those two tabs actually slide in to this channel here that's in the front rail section. There's a bit of a notch out right here. And that's where these two new black tabs actually sit. They slide right into those notches. And that gives the front motor plate all the support that it needs. You just bolt those on from the back. The hardware is included. And then the cross member actually mounts above the center output drive shaft for the rear. So you put the two screws in there. And then, of course, you're going to build this with the left drop. The LRT2 transfer case can be built left side or right side output with the same parts. They just flip around. It's pretty cool. So, of course, this is the Ford left drop for the IFS, so we're going to use the left side output here. The rails in this uncut frame version, you'll see here that the rail is just sitting in there. So I'm going to pull this out so you can see what I've done here to assemble it. Just roll that screw out there. There's no nut on it or anything. Just roll that screw out there. Now this rail is the new part that comes in the kit. There's a left side and a right side. And you'll see it has all these different holes across the top. What we're going to do is put it in with the transmission mount forward of the center line. You see how it's right about the same as that little line there. Hope you can see the line. There's wonder if the camera will pick that up. There's a scribe line right here. There's another one right here. And there's another one right here at the back. Okay? Very hard to see in the camera, but that's where they are. These scribe lines tell you where to put this together in your chassis. Okay, that's what they're for. So the two big ones that are spaced out here in the front ahead of the transmission mount, you're going to screw those into these two holes that are in the factory frame rail. This is all original, nothing's been modified. So this will slide in there just like that, and then you take the new screws and you put them into these two holes. The GCM part that goes in the frame rail is threaded completely all the way through, so you simply jam those screws in all the way to the bottom, tighten them up, and you're done. Now what this means is this allows you to mount the cross member for the transmission. Perfect. But the scribe lines also tell you where to cut the chassis to change the wheelbase. This is where the stuff gets technical. So what you're going to do is cut the front frame rail off at the scribe line that you see right there. We'll do a close-up of that right now so you can see what that looks like. So what I've done is I've lined up this new piece with the two screw holes in the front. These two here are already lined up, and I have the frame rail extension just kind of put in. So right here at this front scribe, I just make a tiny little mark on the frame with an X-Acto blade so that I know where to cut the front frames off. This will stay the same, and this will be now bolted into this. Now there's two other lines here that are scribe marks on the new piece. This one, if you cut there and then shrink the frame that much and take this piece out, you will go from the factory wheelbase to a 313 wheelbase. And these other holes that are in the chassis will bolt directly into the new GCM center frame piece, so that the chassis can literally just slide down in size, screw back together, and you're done. That's it. You shorten the drive shaft in the back, everything's good to go. 313 wheelbase, you're done. The second scribe line is the total chassis that you will cut out if you're going to use a 287 wheelbase, which is the TF2, the Blazer, all of those 11.4 wheelbases. So this frame extension here, if you cut here to the front one, you will get a 287 wheelbase when you shrink it. So let's take a look at those two scribe lines right there. There you can see those pretty clearly. So they're just simply marked out on the rail. Excuse me, they're marked out on the rail. This is the front one. This one here is always going to be the front frame rail length at the end. And if you want 313, you cut it at the second scribe and take this piece out. If you want 287, you cut it at the second line and take that whole piece out. Either way, it still works, and I'll show you how. If we take this piece of frame and we add it to the back, let's just say that we're going to use the 287 wheelbase, then the back holes have to screw in. Notice that they screw right in right there. So the two back holes will screw directly in. If we're going to shrink this down by one whole wheelbase set, then what's going to happen is these holes here are going to line up. When this is cut out, these two holes are then going to line up just like you see right there. So now these two holes are lined up. If we were going to use the back wheelbase, we would have all of these holes brought all the way forward. And that's where this thing is the cure to your wheelbase problems, because it will attach not only the scale drivetrain if you want to use that, which we of course highly recommend, but it will also allow you to change your wheelbase and plop that right in the frame, screw it all together. It's rock solid. Doesn't change anything else with the suspension or the frame rails. You simply take out the piece that's pre-scribed on there. So that's how you do it, and you now also have the added benefit of the overdrive that's in the LRT transfer case, and that is a huge performance upgrade if you happen to have a truck that's this long. Although we like it in all the different wheelbase trucks, you will definitely notice a performance upgrade if you decide to install this type of drivetrain system in a super big truck like this. So now that we have a really solid way of doing a frame length adjustment on this simply with the GCM rails, you can add the 357 part number on universal mounted LRT transmission and transfer case. That will bolt right into the Hero now, and so there's lots of opportunities for fancy custom builds. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.